Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football Channel and welcome to the match preview of Leeds United against Liverpool. Earlier in the season, Leeds went to Anfield and won by 2-1. This time, both of them are sitting 8 places above each other. Liverpool in 8th and Leeds United currently in 16th. Obviously, Leeds looking to survive. Liverpool, nothing to play for, trying to get faint top 4 hopes, but we will wait and see. But anyway, I've been joined by my best man at my wedding, Mr. Karl Levy. Big Leeds supporter. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad, yeah. I knew this was going to be a busy weekend for me because this is a big game on Monday Night Football, and let's say 2 teams are not doing well despite this season. It's just been poor. So, but let's just get this one out of the way. We just have the double against you guys for the first time for a long time. So.
Yeah, that is what I'm very worried about. Very worried about. But I had to get a Liverpool supporter on this evening. I had to get Mr. Mick Moran from the Cup Eye podcast. How are you, Mick?
Yeah, all good. We've just been discussing before we started recording about like Leeds getting beat last game has made me even more nervous about this one because, you don't know what Liverpool's going to turn up at the minute, especially away form. It makes me very nervous. So we'll just have to see what happens and just take it. But yeah, if they do a double over us, that'll be. I'd like to see the last time that happened. That must be a fair while ago, to be fair.
Yeah. I will check that. I will check that throughout the show. But big up everyone who's obviously watching. Do remember to smash the like and also do hit the subscribe button. Both Mick and Karl's links are in the description down below as well. Go and check them out. Right. Well, we have to speak about obviously. It is Leeds United against Liverpool. Now, let me just say this now. Leeds' form so far, Karl, 7 wins, 8 draws and 15 defeats, 29 points, 2 points above the relegation zone. How would you sum up your season? It's been, I would say, mixed, I would have to say. Oh. I think, Karl, are you there?
He's left us early.
I think he has left us early.
It looks like he's really thinking of his answer, though. It's like, what shall I say?
I know. Anyway, once Karl does come back, I do want to speak about this man, Ibu Konate, Mick. Against Arsenal, he was absolutely imperious, wasn't he?
Running out of words to describe the guy. He's so good. It's mad how good he is. Like, obviously, he's had some injuries and stuff, but the fact that he's only recently came in, only 23. When you see the whole Konate versus Upamecano, the mini competition or whatever between those two, he's our number one guy now at the back. That's the levels that he's reached. Obviously, Van Dijk's dropped a little bit. I'm sure Van Dijk can get back to a way better level than he's been producing recently. But Konate's been the man. He's been the man. Especially in games where we're up against the tricky left winger, Konate, with his pace and power, he can stop anyone. He stopped Vinicius Junior a couple of times in the games against Madrid. He's done a couple of times against Martinelli when he had to. No one wants to go up against him because he's that good. I think he's the perfect Liverpool centre-back, to be honest. We're very lucky to have him. We just need everyone else to show a few of the challenges that Konate was shown in the Arsenal game. I think everyone needs to take a little bit of a leaf out of the Konate tackle book and start throwing a few more in because he's so good, honestly. I just hope he stays injury free and then he can be one of the best in the world in the next couple of years, easy.
Yeah, 100%. And I think I'm still going over how he missed that chance. But actually, when you actually look at it again, it is actually quite a difficult header. I didn't actually realise until obviously I was like watching it, and you watch it again, and actually the ball is so low that the only thing you can really do is sort of chest it.
Yeah, it's mad because it comes at him and because he's so tall, it comes at him at a weird height. Maybe if he was a little bit smaller, he might have just been, right, I'll just throw my head on this. But yeah, he's gone for the most, the weirdest way of doing it and trying to chest it in. He could have diving headed it or anything. And yeah, then they go down the other end and nearly score. That would have been, which would have killed us off. But I mean, if he would have scored that would have capped off like an absolute, like you said, he was imperious. That would have just capped off the display for me. But yeah, he should have scored. He knows that. You saw his reaction straight after he missed it. He was absolutely gutted.
Yeah, absolutely. And yes, I do agree. I think he did get the better of the two, Upamecano and I can't believe there was actually a debate then about those two. Oh, Mr. Levy's back. Yeah, he's laughing
Let me just
away.
explain. My laptop was going to restart because I told to leave to do the update an hour later, but it didn't do it. So it did it while I was about to say something, and it just, oh God.
It was, it's funny though, because Doug just finished his question, and it was like you'd froze like this, like you were just thinking.
I know. I knew. I looked at it, I thought, Taylor, man. It's like,
let's get in the comments. Let's see who's here. George Kyle is here. Hello, mate. Hope you are good. And then George says, a superb mannequin challenge effort from Karl.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think that will be clipped. One of the worst misses ever in the Arsenal game from Kanai, although he is excellent defensively. He was indeed. We've just had a wee chat about Kanati as well. Hello, Disdain. Hope you're good. Thank you for tuning in. Hello, Jordan Hyman as well. Jordan saying hello to Diz. Hi, Jordan. Yeah, Karl won the mannequin challenge. Yes, it is usually me. But, right, take two. Leeds form, Karl. Yeah, you're sitting 16th at the moment in the Premier League. It has been a season where Jesse Marsh started the season, then was sacked, and now you've obviously got Javi Gracia in charge. 7 wins, 8 draws, and 15 defeats. A goal difference of -15, which did take a bit of a hit at the weekend. How would you sum up your season?
It's where we are. I bloody expected, actually. It's not a surprise where we are, and I think we knew we were going to be in a relegation battle this season, but we did think of conceding, being under Jesse March. We were just too open, and the problem was for us we were too narrow, and the players we didn't have a wing backs didn't go like really more on the wings, would help the attacking midfield thirds to get to try to create chances, and we were struggling to score goals. A couple of weeks ago, we were struggling to score goals. A couple of weeks ago, before Gracia came in, because we were struggling. We couldn't get it on a target, and our defense was a bit kamikaze as well. But but Gracia coming in, he stabilized it a bit until that really shocking defeat. We did expect that scoreline. Crystal Palace have never won at least Elland Road for quite a long time, so it was very surprising how they just I think the second half. After the second and third goal, I just switched off the game because I knew we were not going to come back. The way it was happening, we just could see Palace were on it. But we did expect Roy Hodgson to get scored many goals in the last couple of weeks and before Patrick Vieira got sacked. So that was more surprising. But as I said, listen, Crystal Palace caught us out. I think we had one of good chances. When we scored the first goal. Did we let our foot gas a bit off? No, don't think we did. We were just surprised the way they equalized before halftime, just before halftime. I think that was the swing, the turnaround from us to them. So it was really disappointing to shock who that lost, because I don't think we lost that number of goals for quite a while. So it was surprising, and I just think at the moment. It's still, I think, like I said, I'm still backing the players as much as I can do. They think they can get out of it with this, with Gracia coming in. It is the right fit. It's just got to make sure this scoreline doesn't happen again for the next 8 to 9 games now completely.
Yeah, I mean, Mick, this game, I don't know how I'm feeling, because, the thing is, Leeds lost 5-1 at home to Crystal Palace. Monday night, Elland Road under the lights is always a very, very tough place to go to anyway. But it's got an added incentive, because Leeds will want to impress their fans after that horrible result against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and after losing in the way that they did, I think everyone was surprised, like seeing the goals just keep going in. And I kind of wish they were playing someone else this weekend, because I know like they're so close to Everton down there, and I'd love Leeds to be playing someone else and get a nice 5-1 victory themselves to get themselves a bit further away from Everton, so Everton go further down. But no, like I said earlier, I don't know what to expect anymore. I've just expect the opposite, and you'll get somewhere close to Liverpool. We haven't got a median level anymore. It's kind of, if we're at home, we tend to be okay, barring the first half an hour against Arsenal. Pretty much at home, we've been all right. I think we're like third or fourth in the table for home form. It's the away form that worries me, because it seems like we need some stuff to go really badly wrong before we kick into gear, and that's something that has been synonymous with our season, unfortunately. And you want the Reds to come out like second half against Arsenal, like really fired up, and to do that in an away game. But I can't see it. I really can't. I just hope that, if the thing is that all I hope these days is we get an early goal, because that gives us a bit of impetus. Then, so if we get an early one, we get some energy. Obviously, if Thiago's back and stuff, we've got a bit more quality, and midfield can pick some passes and stuff. And Nunes as well. Obviously, I think he'll start. So we'll have some pace in the wide areas, and directness. But I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine at the score predictions. I've absolutely no idea. It could be 2-0 to Liverpool, but it could be 2-2. Who knows?
Yeah, it's such a difficult game to call. I mean, Karl, how's your home form been this season?
It's been more. I don't know. I think the home form's been a bit not as it was when we first came back to the Premier. I think it's been like that for nearly a year, since a season and a half, to quite honestly. Yeah. Our home form's not been great. We've had, before the Crystal Palace game at home, we won at home to Southampton, on the half grass here, won against Nottingham Forest. So our home form was, at this moment, to that point, was quite decent, because we were a bit better. Yeah. I know we lost to Manchester United before as well in the back-to-back games in the back, But the thing is, we have kind of looked like we'll get a bit more better. But our home form has been a bit mixed as well. But our home form is going to have to count for the next couple of games as well, because this is going to be important. I think we got Leicester in a few weeks' time on the 29th of April, and then we got Spurs on the last day of the season as well, which is going to be interesting, because we have to get. Yeah, I don't think Spurs. I think maybe at that time, at the moment where we are, I think we could beat Spurs depending on where they are, because Spurs are not being the same team for a while. So, I think other teams can beat Spurs, and I think we can, if we have to go towards the last day of the season, that's fair enough. But we need all results to swing and get on our side, on our luck. With Everton being slipping as well too, for that as well. Not in the Forest thought they were safe a few weeks ago, but they've come back to the situation with their own turnover, with their sport director change from getting Russ Wilson in. But at the moment, I just think it's anyone's guess at the moment between ourselves, Everton, Bournemouth, West Ham, Leicester. I think Crystal Palace have looked like they're going to be safe now completely. So it's all to play for at the moment with like Southampton and for other teams as well. So it's a lot to play for at the moment.
I mean, I'm looking at your games here. I mean, like after us, you go with Fulham, and as you were saying, that game against Leicester City on the 25th of April, that's a massive game. Like that for me is another 6 pointer as well. Bournemouth away, that again is a very, very tricky game to go, and then obviously Man City away. We know that's likely to be probably then again you could say anything could happen. And Newcastle at home, West Ham away. I mean, that's the second last game. That's another very, very massive game. And then that Tottenham game, Tottenham. So you might get something. Anyway, but yeah, there was a comment actually. There was a comment. George Kyle says, "This is the best relegation battle of all time in the Premier League." Would you agree, Mick?
I mean, it's very tight down there, isn't it? I saw who was it? Someone put a comment in, Michael Brown, asking, would I not want Everton to stay up? And my answer is absolutely not. Like, get them down, get them down ASAP. It's never happened. I want it to happen at least once, just to laugh at them and laugh at a few mates they've got. But no, yeah, it looks. I mean, I wouldn't like to be in there because, like Karl just said, like Palace, I mean, even they could. I mean, 8 or 9 games left. People can still get dragged. People can still get dragged in there. I mean, you've got Wolves as well. You've got West Ham, Bournemouth. Yeah, there's a lot of teams that down there. They've got a lot of good players. It's just about getting the results. I think this season it's it can go either way, but I honestly don't know. I wouldn't like to be down there. Put it that way.
No,
necessarily not.
And the thing is, as well, with this situation, we don't know what's going to be the outcome of the financial irregularities from Everton as well. So we don't know this might come before the end of the season or after the season. We don't know if it's going to be points deduction yet or fine. No one knows yet at the moment. So this is going to be interesting how the next couple of games is. I think there will be an announcement, probably either the penultimate or the last game. Between those 2 games, I think there will be something that will be announced from the Premier League, from the Independent Commission about this and see where this goes, because that might be the biggest factor. Because if Everton stays up, I won't be surprised. There's going to be a long list of teams other than ourselves and Burnley, such as Bournemouth, Leicester, Southampton, West Ham, and Wolves will all be saying, why did Everton stay up and you didn't give him points deduction? They should be, given a points deduction and it should be relegated. So that's another huge question as well. It's going to be a huge factor in that as well.
I know. I actually said I think between 37 to 36 points, 36, 37 points, I think keeps you up. I think it does. I think it'd be absolutely hilarious if Chelsea get dragged into it. I mean, they are only like 12 points off the relegation zone, which is absolutely hilarious to say it itself. But I don't think Chelsea will get dragged into it. But then again, you never know. But yeah, I think Crystal Palace would be safe. I think Wolves should be okay. West Ham's the one for me. West Ham, they are not in the best of form. They've got Arsenal at the weekend. They are losing in Belgium at the moment as well. And when clubs have actually been in Europe, like your Burnleys, they have gone down. They have gone down before. So that is very, very worrying for me. Bournemouth are hot and cold. I mean, great win last week against Leicester. Now they go to a Tottenham. Can they go to Tottenham and win? But I think they're going to look up ahead towards their sort of the home form to get up. But yeah, it's a very, very tricky decision. Who goes down? I don't know. I mean, for me, Southampton, I think they're kind of doomed now. I think they're 4 points away from the relegation zone as well. Leicester 25. Leicester at Manchester City this weekend. That's not an easy game. And then Forest and Everton. I mean, Forest and Everton are on 27 points, but Forest are in the bottom 3 because of their goal difference. So an unlikely result against Manchester United could actually put Everton in the bottom 3. If obviously Fulham go to Everton and win, but it's very, very interesting. Anyway, we'll get with some of your thoughts. Hello, Michael Brown. Hope you're a good mate. Evening, Michael. George says he's still in for my prediction of Leeds getting relegated. I actually had Leeds where they actually are, Carl. I actually had them in 16th.
Yeah.
No one can say any with a degree of certainty any one of the bottom 9 teams is safe. Yeah, absolutely. Here's a good question from Diz. Is McKennie a good fit at Leeds?
It's what we've been needed for quite a while, because we were scouting him for quite a good few years when he was at Schalke before he went on loan to Juventus, and then they bought him permanently the season after. He's been on Leeds' radar for quite a long time, and was it ever going to be a replacement for Calvin Phillips? No, it never was. It was going to be part of the process of bringing quality players in, and we probably got him at a great time, because with Tyler Adams, with Mark Rocket, others, they've been our main defensive midfielders. We did need a bit of extra cover, because we did, for example, Adam Forshaw. He only come back from his injury just recently. There's been talks really about him about leaving. So we needed someone to bring someone in a good fit for Leeds at the moment who plays that style. And I think it was more like for Jesse March's style because he knows the player quite well. But I think in a way, he was always a Leeds type player for a while. It was just remember get him off to just to strengthen the defensive midfield because we have our regular players has been Forshaw, Rocker, and Adams being in that defensive midfield.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's what we needed to cover, but we just hopefully get all some of our players back from injury. That's the main concern at the moment. So it absolutely is been a good fit for Leeds at the moment.
Mick, I'm just. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask Karl about Nonto because I think he's like, if I had to compare someone, I'd compare him to like a Sadio Mane at Southampton potentially with that pace and that. Because do you think he'll? I mean, obviously, if you do get relegated, I don't imagine he'll stick around. But do you think he'll stick around at Leeds if you do stay up?
I think he will do. I think he wants to continue developing to be a player that he wants to be. I know he's still 19, 20. I think at the moment it will be too early a big move for him. Yes, there's been talk about a big fee, about 45, 50 million pounds for some of the European teams to take him offers. I think it's gonna be a little bit more longer. You know, he was at Inter, did get a lot of games, and he went to Zurich out of his comfort zone. And I think he did well. He did decently well in Swiss. I think he's one of their top scorers at FC Zurich. And, you know, he's been one of the key players in the Italian national team for Roberto Mancini as they're under the rejuvenation after they qualify for the World Cup. So it's a huge change. It's a huge risk that playing him now, but he's a breath of fresh air that we need him. We paid £5 million for him from Zurich, and you can see there's going to be a lot of huge value, sell on value completely when he does decide to go. I feel like if we do sell, I think he will stay for another season. If we do, I think there's going to be a lot of big suitors, which will be suitors, but I think it'll be half the value because of our, let's say, situation. Because if we're in the championship, then the value will be different. So we have to make a quick decision to sell him at a reduced price. But at the moment, we feel like we do have enough to keep him at this bigger time because he feels like this is the right club. So, and you know what, like what George just said, he's always had a good performance at Inter when he comes off the sub, and he really taught England apart. You know, to try to draw the game. But I'm glad they did it. But when he plays for Leeds, he's a different kind of player, and I think with him being injured, I think that's what's been. We've been missing quite a bit more pace on that left hand side of the midfield.
Yeah. 5 million as well. Jesus, that's an absolute steal. 5 million, unbelievable.
That's amazing. That is amazing. I mean, I'm looking at some of the players here. Obviously, Sinisterra is an interesting one. Karl, how's he done? Because there was a lot of talk about him in when he was obviously in Feyenoord. How do you think he's done this season?
It's been mixed with him. He's trying to get used to settling in to the Premier League. He's still getting to, but he's been having a few good quality games, completely. And he's one of the main players that was going to come in was a replacement for Rafinha. So in a way, he was always going to take time to settle in. But I think he's been one of the key players where he plays on the right or on the left, And I think, he's getting back from his injury a couple of weeks ago as well, too. It has been, but I think for him, he's had a bit of a stop and start, but I think he's had a bit more starts than stop. He just stops with his injuries. But he has been okay for it. He's been okay for the season. We expect him to be probably getting better and better. And we hopefully will have him for another few more years to reach his goals that he wants. Because last season at Feyenoord, he was on fire completely. He was on really good fire.
Brilliant.
Really on fire.
He was absolutely.
He had more than 40 goals and assists combined last season. So that is huge quality. But he will. I think the more next season on the Gracia, I think he will get more better and better. You will see the better of him. Usually first seasons, we kind of write it out for certain teams for certain players because it's just getting used to surroundings completely.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here as well, Mick. Obviously, I'm looking at the name Jack Harrison. He always seems to have a good game against us whenever he plays for Leeds.
Yeah, he's a good player. I mean, I haven't actually looked at Leeds and who's injured, but if is Nonto injured at the moment.
Not just not injured. We won't know the team news. Probably tomorrow we should hear some news about Nonto and Max Werber. So we hopefully we'll get a bit of good news, but we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Hopefully not. No, but Jack Harrison, yeah, he's a good player. He tends to score against us. Yeah, and in the position we're currently in, it's much easier to create chances against us if you've got a bit of pace and trickery, and because of the high line we play. I mean, Nonto would have a bit of joy. To be fair, the only good thing we've got at the moment, like we mentioned before, with Kanate is more than strong and quick enough to deal with that on that side. Hopefully, if he does play. But yeah, I mean, Leeds have got some good players. I mean, in terms of our back line, it's been there's been some big drop offs, but hopefully, praying the Arsenal game can give us, second half especially, can give us a little kick and to get back to a decent enough level to win this game.
Very, very much hope so. West Ham are drawing 1-1 again in the Europa Conference League at the moment. Fulham are in absolute diabolical form, Carl, so you'd be looking for a win next game after this. Yeah, I was looking at it. 4 defeats out of the last 5, which is very, very interesting. I know that they are sort of missing Mitrovic, but you'll probably go into that game thinking that, all right, you lost in the FA Cup earlier in the season, but that's a game you'd be kind of looking at and thinking, yeah, we could go on and probably try and get a result there.
Absolutely, we played very well against Fulham. It was just 2 surprising goals, really. You know, I think we start with the FA Cup when the goal got chalked off when Harry Wilson went down easily. It should have been a close 2-1 game, to be quite honest with you. I think because also with Dan James as well too. You know, being at Fulham, but he's not had a very good season there, and I think the problem is what the biggest conundrum is. What does Dan James do? I think he probably will come back to Elland Road after, in the summer. I think that will happen. And I think, will he be back? Will he be in the squad for next season? We don't know. But I think their biggest surprise is missing Mitrovic, because that, from what happened in the FA Cup game, he got that suspension. So, to be quite honest with you, it is a bit of a conundrum for him at the moment. I don't know how Fulham can get through this towards the end of the season, because they want to try get into Europa Conference League, but that might fall apart without Mitrovic's influence in the team. Yeah,
there is an interesting question here from Ballard. Mick will just be back getting his charger. Hello, long term, who would you like to see at Leeds? Graham Potter, Patrick Vieira? Was it always going to be tough for Jesse taking over from Marcelo, Bielsa, etc.? I mean, is Gracia the long-term plan for Leeds?
It could be. There's 2 ways. So Gracia is on a flexible contract. So he's on a contract originally till end of the season. And then if Leeds do stay up, they will give him probably another 2 and a 3.5 year contract. So that is what Leeds are. So Leeds have got. So it's best for both parties. So Leeds can cut ties with it in the season if we do get relegated, or if we stay up, there's a chance that he will extend his contract. So it's paying off for both parties, and I think that was a more fairer choice, because Gracia wanted to say, okay, short term, I'll do what I can to keep this team up. We'll talk about long term after the final game of the season. We'll go ahead. So I think that's been best for both parties at the moment. Long term wise, if we do go down, that's another big huge question. I don't think we'll get Graham Potter. I just don't think it's going to work out, to be quite honest with you. After what happened at Chelsea, I think, I really don't know. I really don't know if Rafa Benitez, I don't know who will be the better manager for Leeds United at the moment. I know we looked at the coaches at Andres and his slot for Feyenoord and Massa Pellegrino as well as the coach at Andres at Rayo Vallecano as well. So at the moment, we still got those long terms, but it might change quite a bit if the 49ers investments, the investment arm of San Francisco 49ers do buy the club outright before the summer. That might change quite a bit. They might change that direction completely they might want to keep Javi Gracia as well, but it might change course with pretty much a lot of stuff like with the infrastructure and I've decided what players and get more better players so we don't go for this in the end and have more of a identity.
Yeah. Des has asked an interesting question here. Trivia. Current active players who have played for Leeds and Liverpool. Well, if you're talking this game, only I think James Milner. I think James Milner is probably the only one. I can't think of anybody else.
Harry Kewell.
Harry Kewell, yeah.
Gary McAllister. Nick Barmby.
Oh, crikey, yeah.
El Hadj Diouf.
Oh, yeah, we're saying any. Did Pongol go there on loan? No, did he?
No, I don't think he did. No, he didn't.
No.
So
no, I was Blackburn, I think. I think it was Blackburn. It's an interesting question, Diz. It's a very, very interesting question. Michael Brown says, Klopp has enough credit in the bank to keep his job. Liverpool can't afford another poor season like this under Klopp, especially if they miss out on European football. Sinister is probably my favourite name in the Premier League. Yeah. Apart from maybe Veghorst as a Harry Potter character. That's funny.
Sounds like a spell, to be fair, doesn't it? Wout Veghorst.
Wout Veghorst, yeah. Wout Veghorst certainly does. Yeah, I will get to your chat very, very quickly, because we do know kind of the record recently, because obviously, Karl, you did win the last meeting between the sides, didn't you? Yes, 2-1 at Anfield. Now, what I remember from talking to you about this game was all the pressure was on Jesse Marsch. All the pressure. I think a lot of people would probably said all the pressure was on Jesse Marsch.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, we gifted you the first goal. I don't know what Joe Gomez is absolutely doing. He plays it straight to Rodrigo, and Alisson is at a nightmare going out to the right hand side. But I think it's Gomez's fault for that one. And then obviously Salah equalises, and then Crescencio Somerville scores the winner. So, how are you feeling going into this one?
Well, like I said, it's that time Jesse Marsch was under pressure. He could have been sacked that weekend completely for what that weekend that happened, and then N'Goto goes on in the second half in the late. That turned the tides completely. When we saw the glimpse of what we've gone to, what people was talking about. Be careful his pace, and both N'Goto and Somerville are both the same height. I think they're only 5'8". Both of them are. So that's why they were very pacey in that last minute game to try and get something for Leeds. And we did, and we shot to beat you guys. We were. We were on a good 2-win run until we lost to Spurs before the World Cup break. So that was our mini revival a little bit.
I have just Googled it. The last time Leeds did the double over Liverpool, crikey, I was only 3 years old. It was the 94-95 season. Literally, Leeds won 1-0 at Anfield, and then Leeds won 1-0 at Elland Road. So there you go. That 95-96 season was the last time Leeds did the double over Liverpool.
Was that one of the was it Tony Yeboah scored that wonder goal that when we did beat you? I think it was that season. I feel like it was.
I think it was.
Yeah. That's one of the all-time Premier League classic goals. That the Yeboah one.
Yeah.
Just absolutely unbelievable.
It was. But I mean, recently, like, you look at the games. Obviously, Liverpool won 2-1, but yeah, last season wasn't so good for Leeds. 6-0 at Anfield, and then 3-0 at Elland Road. So it's safe to say that obviously you haven't beaten us at Elland Road since you came back into the Premier League, but you did actually get, as we were obviously speaking before we came on there, the last time Leeds played Liverpool on a Monday night, funnily enough, was in April. It was April the 19th, and it was a 1-1 draw. Now, this was the game where all the Super League stuff was happening, but when you look at Liverpool's away form, Karl, does that give you a bit of an incentive thinking we can beat Liverpool?
It kind of does. I think this is it's one of those games at Elland Road that we have to, when it's Monday Night Football, it's a must-win game to get a point against a top 4 team, because we've really struggled to get points. Well, except for Manchester United, we've struggled to get points off most of the top 6 this season. So we've got points from Chelsea, this past season, and yeah, I think that's been Chelsea. It's only been Chelsea and Liverpool we've got the wins off, and to quite honestly, to get another 3-pointer against Liverpool will be huge for us, because I think that will put the other relegation teams in peril, thinking, wow, Leeds beat Liverpool, which we didn't think it was going to happen. But it's a huge question in this form. I think we forget about what happened on Sunday. That's never happened to us in collapse against any Leicester team for a while. So I think some Leeds fans were a bit annoyed, but some of us thinking, well, listen, we've got to dust ourselves off. We still can get out of this no matter what. So I think the players are still believing that they can get out of it compared to last season. There was a bit of mixed signals that some of these players didn't want to do. So yeah, we will see. We'll see, because if we do get win against Liverpool, I think that's a huge confidence boost for Leeds to stay up, and I think they'll go on a bit of a little bit of a running run to get some majority points out of the next 8 games completely.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I am looking at this game, Mick, and obviously one name will be on everyone's lips, Luis Diaz. Do you think Luis Diaz will make his return on Monday?
Yeah, I think he will. I don't think he'll start, though. I think we'll from the last game, I just think we'll go Thiago in for Jones and Nunes in for Jota, and go the same as we did pretty much. But to have Diaz back in, I saw Simicast in an interview today, I think it was, saying like, be good if Diaz comes on and produces a bit of magic, because he was our guy. It's even when he was, it seems like a long time ago since he last played for us, but for a long time he was just pass the ball to Diaz, he'll make something happen. Like you saw the goal against Palace he scored, but he basically took on the whole Palace team and whipped it in far corner. He's capable of magic, he really is. He's one of my favourite players. I mean, he's been out for a long time, and I think it's similar to Jota really, where Jota's came back and then struggled a little bit. He's getting a little bit better, but I think Diaz is a level above that. I think he can produce a bit of magic even when he's coming back in for 20 minutes. I think he's capable of picking a pass or long range shots, 25 yards out, he's capable of scoring. So hopefully he comes on last 20. And it's nice to have Jota as well. Like we said, if we bring on Jota and Diaz for the last 20 with tiring legs, we can, and we need to win the game. I think we've got enough firepower to hopefully do it.
Yeah, I mean, Karl, who are you seeing as sort of Leeds' danger man for Liverpool?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. Well, do you know what? I think the one player that we have to look very carefully, and I think we were close to getting him last summer, but Cody Gakpo, I think where he's come into the club, he's kind of settled in quite well. I think he's going to be one of those players that Leeds will have to look really careful for this, because we were late to get him last summer between ourselves and Manchester United. Unfortunately, Southampton was in the running as well, but he didn't go. Yeah. We were close. We did make a bid, but it got rejected. But the thing is, we'll see, how he's now, settled in decently well in the Premier League and for Liverpool. I think he's a good long-term replacement for your aging front, Salah and Firmino as well. So I think he's a good long-term replacement for it's going to be a huge headache. I think Gakpo will probably start, and I think he's going to really threaten that on the left-hand side, along with Elland or Christensen. Might have to put a double team in. It's going to be a tough game.
Oh yeah. I mean, the surprising thing about Gakpo, I suppose, Mick, is his pace. Like, I know he did really, really well at the World Cup for Holland, but that turn of pace he showed against Manchester United, I don't think that's something I've never ever seen. Like, he just gets away from defenders, and I think as well that if he's going to play this striking role, which obviously it seems to be his strongest position. I know he's more left-hand side, but Has he surprised you since he's come in?
I think it took him a few games to, because I thought, like everyone else, that he was going to come in and be a left winger. I just thought, because that's his position for PSV. He played there for Holland. He played in, as a 9 or false 9 for Holland, but not. It was only now and again. So the fact that he came in and kind of went straight into that 9 position, I think everyone was a bit taken aback a little bit, because it was like, oh. But then once you start to see the games pass by, you see the skills, the touch, the dropping into those pockets, the pace as well when he turns and runs with it. He's very, very dangerous. And because I think he's a bit deceptive because he's 6'4". I think taller people just don't look as quick as someone who's like 5'4", for example. I always reference Usain Bolt because he was 6'4", and he was just so quick, but he never looked that quick, if that weirdly makes sense. And I think Gakpo's got very good pace. I think he reserves his energy quite well, I think, in certain areas where he drops in, and he can flick that the pace switch on in certain areas when we need him to. But I think he complements our style really well, and obviously with Bobby leaving, he's learning that role. He's learning from the best, the best false 9 in the current footballing sphere that we've seen. Bobby Firmino is the best I've ever seen of it at it, and I think Gakpo's got the perfect mentor there to last couple of months of the season to help him. But I think the signs they're very good. Obviously, a great goal against United, and he's been performing well. I'd like him to perform a little bit better. And hopefully with the last couple of games of the season, he can kind of elevate himself. I think Diaz coming back into the team helps him as well, because he's got that outlet then over that side, and someone who can. So I think we tend to, because we're not keeping the ball as well, but like when we've got an out ball and someone who can keep it, run with it, dribble with it, it takes so much pressure off the midfield, because the midfield's where we're lacking at the minute. And those balls over into the channels, and you've got Diaz who can hold it up and let Liverpool's aging legs in midfield get up to the other side of the pitch. That helps us immensely.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a question for you, Mick. Will we miss out on European football this season?
Yeah, we were laughing about this before we started, about like Conference League or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm always positive. I'm always positive, but I just feel like as the games go on now, like, I mean, the result against Arsenal was very good, but it was still. We still probably should have won that game, and it would have put us in a much better position. It's just one of those, in a weird way, it's the pressure's off us now because we're so far away.
Yeah.
Klopp's team talk can kind of be, well, let's go enjoy these games. Let's get as many points as we can. If we start picking a few wins in a row up, which I don't expect, by the way, because Liverpool are just mad this season. But if we can somehow win 2-3 in a row and get a bit of steam going, who knows what can happen? Like we mentioned before about Spurs and whatever else, like they can turn up and be amazing, but they can turn up and be really horrendous. And in those places, like people always drop points. So if Liverpool can quietly go about the business and pick up a few wins, then I don't know. Hopefully we can, but I mean, Europa League and stuff doesn't fill me with like joy and stuff, just because we've experienced Champions League now for so long that when there's potential of dropping down, it doesn't feel that nice. You always want to get back in there, and especially with like trying to boost the transfer funds, going for certain players who've got a lot of money, Bellingham. Then it's much more difficult. And obviously we're still attractive as a football club because we've got Jurgen Klopp, we've got amazing players. But if we've got Champions League to offer on top of that, then it's very easy to say, come and join us, basically.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Liverpool is beatable this season playing away. We have 3 wins in the Premier League away from home this season. It isn't good enough. It is not good enough. I think it's Spurs, Newcastle, and Aston Villa. I think they're the only 3 that we've actually won. That 2-2 draw was majorly pissed because if we had any extra strikers to put on, we would have come back and won. A 2-2 draw. Leeds at Manchester United. I forgot about that. Everton hadn't got anyone else to put on and ended up putting on lots of other defenders, even though we were going to go for the win. Big up now. I'm buzzing for the Snooker World Championship. I am as well. Saturday morning goat on Ronnie O'Sullivan. The GOAT. Interesting. Hello, Mick, Carl. Good evening, and Douglas. Good evening, Uncle Rods. Hope you're good, my friend. And they're talking about soup now. I don't know why they're talking about soup. And it has finished 1-1 between Ghent and West Ham. Interesting. Yeah, Karl, what are you made of Liverpool this season?
Really surprised, actually, of the drop off has been so bad. I really was surprised. I think if you got Tulumenke before he went to Real Madrid, I think he would have been a bit more better. Look how he's doing at the moment. It's just surprising how the midfielders have dropped off massively, and I think it's like what City's going through with Haaland. I think he was always a bit of a change, because bringing Nunes in, to become more of a change in the false nine into a more of a poacher for. So it's a huge change. It's a huge change for Liverpool. I think you're not being helped by what's happening with FSG. I think with it, trying to sell a stake in the club. Yeah, I like to say, if you miss out on the European qualification, it's going to be a huge summer for you guys, because I think you do need midfielders, but I don't think players like Jude Bellingham is going to come. I think that's now off the table. I think Man City could get him now, and I think he's between City and Real Madrid now completely. It really is, and I think Liverpool needs to look at other options of how to address the midfield. I think you've got a question with Van Dijk's, situation. I think after Jamie, a couple of years ago, CJ said he was more better defender than Vidic, even though I hate mentioning that. I think Vidic was more the better player. No disrespect, Doug, but in a way, I think at the moment, Liverpool do need a huge investment. They always be complaining they're not being spent, they're spending money. You have spent a lot of money, but you just not done it. You have spent a lot of money on the players that you needed, but you needed the midfield, because that's what Man City had to do to to improve their midfield before the other positions. And I think that's why Man City's been well ahead. I think that's why Arsenal are spending good amounts of money on the right players and done so well with the Renaissance under Arteta. This is a situation for Jurgen Klopp now that this summer is going to be a long summer. If he needs to get two more midfielders to try to bring the age gap down and try to have a bit of a new Liverpool now, because this is what it is now. We knew this phase was coming to an end. We just didn't know when it was going to be. This season, it just shows you that now it's time to really now to get buy new players now, midfielders come this summer.
100%. I think. Look, everyone knows the midfield's been neglected. I think every rival fan has probably noticed that. Definitely, it's just one of those things. But yeah, look, it's going to be an interesting summer. Whoever comes in, and I know players will obviously be on the way out as well. But yeah, one question I did want to ask Mick, because obviously it has been sort of been a bit of a discussion point this week. Mohamed Salah, Standard Chartered Player of the Month for March, so obviously congratulations to Mo Salah. But he did miss another penalty. Now, he did miss at Bournemouth. He did miss against Arsenal. Do you think Salah should be taken off pens?
Yeah, it's a big talking point, this, really, because it's like he's so good at them, but he's very scruffy in his approach, and obviously he's got a very set run up, but the way he strikes the ball, he's not the cleanest striker of the ball you've ever seen, but he's very good at pens. So it's like, do you want someone who's better technically but still might miss, or do you want someone who's scruffy and has got a higher percentage of scoring? I would stick with him, just because, I mean, after the Bournemouth one, I thought going into the Arsenal one, I was expecting them to miss, to be honest. I thought that was maybe the one to go, right, don't take this one. You can take the next one or whatever. Because I just felt like, I mean, Carragher mentioned it in comms, like he was just overthinking it. He was trying to place it right in the corner, whereas usually he just run up and curl it into the corner and there'd be no problems. I was actually watching like a couple of the goals from Leeds, and I think he scored didn't he score like 2 pens against Leeds in one game, or a late penalty? And it was just like that. That penalty he took in that game, that's what he should have done in the Arsenal game. Just curled it bottom corner, nice height on it, no problem. But I don't know, I think Milner would be always my first choice, but Milner's rarely on the pitch. He was on the pitch for the Bournemouth game, which I thought was interesting, but I think it's been confirmed that Salah's like our first choice now. And Klopp said that they're going to have a discussion about who's going to take them. So, I mean, it depends what happens in that discussion, whether Salah's like, just give me another one. If I miss this one, then I'll give it to someone else, or it depends on that, really. But in terms of like alternatives, I mean, there's Núñez, who, talking about technique, I suppose he technically isn't the greatest first touch wise, but I think penalty wise, he's got a very cool head. You've got Gakpo, who's technically excellent, so could take a penalty. So we've got options, which is nice as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's someone that you haven't mentioned is Fabinho.
Fabinho,
who I think I have to say that when he was at Monaco, I think it was like a 97% taking accuracy from penalty kicks. I think he scored most of them as well. And obviously, first sort of season when he came to Liverpool, he actually did miss one. He missed one in pre-season, but I'm a bit surprised he doesn't take them as often because of obviously having a very, very good spot kick rate as well. But yeah, for me, I think Fabinho, Milner would obviously be my two. Gakpo I think took a few for PSV. As well, so I can see Gakpo potentially taking one, but yeah, it's just a big talking point, especially with what happened at the weekend, and he's just trying to place it right in the corner, and it just doesn't help at all.
Especially because at that point in the game as well, like we weren't even on 60 minutes yet. If that goes in, we've got 35 minutes to get another one, and I think in that time frame 2-2 with our tails up, I think we do get another. It's only that we score quite late on 87 minute. That, I mean, we still should win with the Kanate chance that we mentioned earlier, but we'd had loads more chances to get that winning goal. So that would have, I mean, and you saw his reaction. That's the most angry I've seen Mo Salah react. Because usually just tends to like laugh or smile or whatever. Even when he gets a decision against him, he laughs, which I find annoying because I want him to be angry. And Mo Salah, an angry Mo Salah is a good Mo Salah, and that's what I want to see more of. So hopefully this miss can be like I mentioned, like Arsenal game being maybe like a little catalyst for us to use that as a level going forward. Like Salah missing this one can hopefully be a catalyst for him never wanting to miss a penalty again.
Yeah, definitely. Michael Brown, I will be coming to that. I have seen your comment, and actually, we'll do it now. Yeah, Sadio Mane. What do you make of that, Mick? Obviously, something isn't right with Mane. He has been injured a lot this season. I think it's the safest thing to say, but he isn't the same Sadio Mane.
No, it's mad. It seems. I mean, he's a fiery character. Like, he's obviously shown that in games where he doesn't, when playing for Liverpool, if he doesn't get a decision, he can be quite angry. When he got took off one time, he was absolutely fuming and stuff. So, but that's normal. You want that as a player, but this just seems completely out of character in terms of in terms of going up against your teammates. I mean, I'd love to know what was said in order for him to go to that length. But yeah, he's been suspended for the week, hasn't he? And a fine and all that stuff. Which, I mean, he's probably just accepted, and he's probably very embarrassed about like what's happened and stuff. But it doesn't seem like the Sadio Mane that we know. It seems like completely different. But I just found the whole like him leaving and stuff. I always found it funny that like when you ask someone like, oh, why Liverpool being horrendous this season, people tend to say, oh, because Sadio Mane left, and it's like you only know if you're a Liverpool fan that his performances were very good towards the end, but in terms of like him being a left winger and stuff, like those days were long gone. Is obviously his rate, his level was going down very steadily, as it happens as you get a bit older. I think he just recently turned 30. Was it 32? I think recently. So as you get into 32, 33, your level drops. But no, this one's a mad one. I'd love to know what happened.
It's a lazy narrative, isn't it? When someone asks you what's wrong with Liverpool's season, they'll just say, "Oh yeah, Sadio Mane's left." Well, we have to cope without him. We have to cope. It's too late saying, "Oh, Mane's left." Yeah, we've got to cope with him as well. Yeah, Karl, what's your thoughts on what's happened with Mane?
It's For me, it's surprising. We're seeing the character of Sadio Mane's reputation kind of tarnish a little bit now, because we could see he wanted to leave Liverpool. It was his decided to move, and yes, he's had a couple of injuries this past season, but I'm very surprised how he reacted to someone to Leroy Sané, who also was sold Man City by a few years ago, 2-3 seasons ago. It just shows that it's not been a happy camp at Bayern Munich. It just shows it's not been a happy camp.
No.
Yes, they've changed the manager, they sacked Julian Nagelsmann, brought in Thomas Tuchel, but it's still not a happy camp. And there's no wonder there's been a bit of disagreements around the squad as well this past season. And yeah, so for someone like Sadio Mane to come out of the capture to do something like that, to split Leroy Sané's lip, it's very surprising, because that's not the Sadio Mane that we've known, who's tremendous for Liverpool over the past nearly 6-7 seasons. So it is a huge surprise. And yes, he's been suspended for this game, this upper game against Hoffenheim, but will he be sold in the summer? That's going to be another question as well. I think there's a lot of it's going to be riding on what Thomas Tuchel does. If he does, decide when he gets control of the transfer window. I think Mane might be one of those players who will have to go, because I think they've tried to experiment. It's not worked out in a way with his injuries. It's like saying he's going to be starting to decline now. He's in his early 30s. So for that matter, it's going to be it's sad to see him to go to another giant club. Okay, he might do well to replace Lewandowski, but they're not found that replacement, and I think that's what's disappointed Mane's season altogether.
It's very, very interesting that, obviously Sadio Mane is unfortunately not having a good time of it at the moment. And I did see a tweet, actually, a lot of people actually asking would they take him back. I mean, we're stacked at left wing right now, but I think with Firmino going, he might be a potential striking option. But again, he's at an age now where I think he's sort of in the prime of his years now. Anyway, but we will get to starting 11s. Karl, what do you think the Leeds lineup's going to be against Liverpool?
I think we'll start with Meslier in goal. I think on the right hand side, I think it will be Luke Ayling, and I think Pascal Struijk will be in that, either with Robin Koch. And I think on the left, we might have to play Junior Firpo's. Junior Firpo will have to probably start if Max Werber is not back to full fitness. That might have to be. And in the midfield, I think we'll play the front of the two of having McKennie. It will be Rocker, and I know Tyler Adams is trying to come back from his injury. But I think it'll be Rocker and McKennie will play in that. And then up front, I think it will be Jack Harrison, Somerville and Harrison in the middle, and then I think it probably will be Rodrigo up front. I think that's what it will be. I think once we know the team used tomorrow, it might change quite a bit. So we'll see with the team used for tomorrow.
Yeah, we have kind of spoken about Liverpool's 11, sort of, Nick. We probably expect 2 changes, don't we?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, Curtis Jones played, and we all know when Curtis Jones is in the start 11, Twitter goes insane, which I always find funny. But no, there's no doubt. Like Thiago's back, and because when Liverpool were going through a little bit of a good spell, probably just winning like 2 games is a good spell for us at the minute. And Thiago was injured. We were like, oh, this is what happens when we've got like a more workman-like midfield, and we can get the ball and play it quicker. And you can kind of see that point of view because Thiago likes to take a touch and whatever. But when Thiago's fit and available, as annoying as it is that he's made of Weetabix and whatever, his quality is undoubted, and he can open up any defense in the world. And I think with the likes of with Diaz back, hopefully be on the bench, I think Thiago down that side with Nunes, like you just think like Nunes is going to be like, well, I can make these runs in behind Ayling, and Thiago can put clip it round on a sixpence right onto his toe, and we can be in. So I think Nunes will be very happy that Thiago's back, but I don't envisage any other changes really. But I think it'd just be nice to have Diaz back. I think that'll give everyone a lift as well in the squad, because we know Jota knows, Nunes knows that that left hand side positions. It's the main guys back now for that in terms of our left wing position. So they need to up their levels as well to try and stay in the team.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been kind of maybe hoping maybe Bobby gives a start, but I think
he was good against. He impressed me a lot really against Arsenal, to be fair, because sometimes when he comes into game, he struggles to adjust to the pace because he tends to come on with like 10, 15 to go, and he tries to drop too deep and he tries to take too many touches, and he sometimes loses it. And you're like, you're doing more damage than good here, mate. Just go away, leave us alone, go up top. But I think against Arsenal, he's very good, and obviously we want to see him play more games because his time left at the club's limited. But I think as an impact sub, I was surprised when he scored. He didn't go absolutely mad, because I love a Bobby celebration when he goes absolutely start doing 2 kicks and all that, but he didn't do it. But I'd like to see him play more. But I think, I mean, like I mentioned before, if you've got Jota and Diaz as impact subs, and you've got Firmino as well, you've got a whole front three there that you can potentially change if you want to.
Yeah, definitely. And the first touch from Bobby Firmino in that game has been absolutely clattered by Kiwior, who just come on for Martin Odegaard. And Nunes should have scored, but enough about that anyway. But yes, now we'll get to score predictions. This will be very, very interesting, because I know, Mick, you don't like doing score predictions, but what are you going to go for?
Like I said before, it could be 0-0, could be 4-4. It could be anything. Honestly, it could be anything. Our away form, like we've mentioned, is just absolutely horrific, and it worries me that Leeds are on the back of that last game. They need points. Like I mentioned before, we're at a position now where Europe's probably a bit of a stretch in terms of Champions League anyway. So, I mean, hopefully, autopilot doesn't switch in for us, and we just revert to type and be horrendous again, and Leeds can take advantage of that. We saw that the game against Anfield, where that's one of the, I was at that game, and that was the worst I've ever felt. That 90th minute winner, Karl, was like one of the worst moments of my life, because it was just like such a dagger to the heart. You just like, I felt the pain just like hit me. It was absolutely horrible. So I'm hoping that game will give us a bit of, I don't know, not like revenge or whatever, because that's a bit dramatic, but to kind of put that right a little bit and go there and like I said, just quietly start to get some 3 points on the board and try and make our way up the way. But I'll go for I can never think we're going to keep a clean sheet, so I'll go 2-1 to Liverpool.
2-1. Yeah. Karl?
Listen, this is it's a must-win game, not for both teams. It's a must-win game, and our game against Crystal Palace was very surprising. We didn't expect to lose in that style of fashion, but I think that is written off. It's Elland Road. The fans will be there shouting passionate. It's gonna be electric. It's gonna be electrified. It's gonna be loud. It's gonna be abusive. Hopefully not too abusive, hopefully, but it's going to be in your face. It really will be completely. I think this could really, this is the game that the Leeds the players realize, thinking, okay, no matter if we don't beat Palace, we've got to beat Liverpool. And I feel like there's something like could happen again. And I feel like we will just edge it out. I think we'll win just by 2-1. I just can't see. I just feel like this is going to be a tight game. It's like it was at Anfield.
Yeah, well, there's that stat. The last time you did the double over was 95-96. So, Christ, I mean, we really need to score the first goal, Mick, because of our away form.
Yeah. I just feel like because it could be 2-1 either way. It wouldn't surprise me, but the more I think about it, that I'm hoping that because Leeds need to win, they'll be pushing out quite high against us, and we might have with Nunes and Salah in the spaces, and that Diaz towards the end. I think we'll have a lot of space which we'll have a lot of joy with. But yeah, could be 2-1 to Leeds. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm going 3-1. I'm going to go 3-1. I think if we score first, I think it'll hopefully calm us down. But we know what Leeds are like. They've got pacey wingers, and if Nonto is no fit, then that's an absolute boost. But they still have Somerville. They've still got Harrison, who scares me. I've got to say, him up against Trent would be very interesting. Just very quick, what did you make of Trent against Arsenal? Because he was sort of in that sort of DM position, which I thought was quite strange.
Yeah, it was. It's obviously a ploy that City are doing as well, where they seem to be throwing John Stones in centre mid, which works. I think Lewis has been doing it when he plays right back as well, where he comes into like a midfield position. Seems to be a thing. I don't know. Like I think he's capable, but I think Neville mentioned like when he's getting balls wrapped into his feet in a high intensive game, I worry about his ability to turn and have the speed to kind of get away from someone. That's the only thing. If he's got space, he can take a touch, and we know we can play 60, 70 yard passes onto the foot of the person that he's playing it to perfectly. But I mean, I think it worked for us in that game, definitely. In especially the last 60 minutes, it worked. So, and it was against Arsenal, which is obviously a very difficult game. They're absolutely flying. So I think if you can have more space and more joy against Leeds, then that might be something that we see going forward. And Kanate because Kanate was basically a right back and Van Dijk was a left back, and everyone else just legged it forward. So hopefully we'll see something similar against Leeds on Monday.
It was very, 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 very strange. Very, very strange. One last question before I do let you both go. Karl, will Leeds stay up?
I think we can. I think there's worse teams than us at the moment in a difficult situation. I think Leeds can stay up. I think we have got that. We learned from last season. I think we're more better where we were compared to where we were at this stage. We were a bit so behind, but I think there is still a chance that I think we have a chance to stay up this season. Yes.
I can't believe I'm going to ask this. How many games remaining do you think we'll win?
Liverpool.
Yeah.
Oh God, I have no idea. It could be Monday. It could be Monday night, and that's it. Well, we don't know, but I mean, we've got.
Let me check the fixtures. Let me just check the fixtures.
I know we've got Spurs. I think it's Spurs, Brentford, and Fulham. I think we've got 3 consecutive home games, which I'm looking forward to. That, to be fair, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so
I expect to win those 3 definitely.
Yeah, so obviously Leeds away. That's going to be very, very tricky. Forest, I would expect a win because of Forest's poor away form. West Ham, that one I'm not so sure about because we have a dreadful record at the London Stadium. So West Ham's a bit iffy. Tottenham, I think we'll beat them. I think we will beat them. Fulham at home. Again, no Mitrovic, so we should win that. Brentford, that's a difficult one. And then Leicester City, like Dean Smith. I mean, I just get visions of that 7-2. I know that's not going to happen again. Aston Villa, that's a tricky game because that's Unai Emery, and Unai Emery has done really, really well at Aston Villa. And then obviously the last game of the season is Southampton. So, I mean, out of those 7, maybe. I think West Ham's a tricky game. I think the West Ham game is a very, very tricky one. I think Aston Villa is a very, very tricky one, but it's their away form. 3 wins away from home this season. It's just reminding me of the old Liverpool. The old Liverpool under Benitez, the old Liverpool under Rodgers, the old Liverpool under Hodgson.
I mean, even when I was looking at the fixture list like a couple of months ago, I was looking at it going, yeah, Arsenal at home, that's sound. And I was like, oh, Leeds away. I was more worried about Leeds away, West Ham away, Southampton away, because the away form so bad. I expect us to get. We've got fans in the stadium against like the likes of Brentford, which is a tough game because we always struggle against Brentford because of the way they play, and Villa as well. But I think at home we'll have enough because we've shown enough to like batter United. We've done well in most of the game against Arsenal, Everton. Newcastle, we've done very well at home, so I imagine. I mean, of all the home games, I imagine us to win all of them. Hopefully, it's just the away ones that, like I was mentioning about putting a bit of a run of form together. That's where we'll come unstuck, because I think like West Ham will probably draw, and then everyone else is probably going to win, and it's game over.
Yeah, I think so. But we will wait and see. And yes, Andrew Quinn has just brought us some breaking news. Apparently, there would be no further action on what happened to Andy Robertson. So, wow. I suppose in a way it's a bit of a relief that he's no getting anything, Andy Robertson. But it remains to see what's going to happen to the linesman, Constantine. Oh Christ.
Yeah, listen, you thought my dyslexia was a lot worse how I pronounce stuff. So don't worry, Doug, you're not the only one, okay?
Hatzidakis, Constantine Hatzidakis. Yes, it'd be interesting to see what will happen. But anyway, enough about obviously speaking about linesmen, etc. Thank you very much to Mr. Mick Moran and Karl for coming on. Mick, obviously I know that Cup Heights is audio only at the moment. How are you finding audio only? Is it much better?
There's pros and cons, I suppose. It's good because there's no like. I used to like quite enjoy going live, but with Liverpool this season, I'm quite glad that we haven't been doing that. It's like reacting to like getting beat to Bournemouth and Brentford and all that. That would have been like really difficult to get yourself up for. So having like a couple of days sometimes just to kind of let your anger level out a little bit, and then doing it is a bit better. And yeah, I mean, we still use StreamYard to like record them and stuff. We just take the audio off and put it online. And we might come back to YouTube at some point in the future. But I think it's nice just to, I don't know, like you can just have a little cup of tea and you have your dressing gown on. No one can see you, so that you can have your feet up on the couch and all that. No one knows. You don't have to look presentable like I am now.
I'm in with pajamas, so I'm more presentable. So yeah, let's just get that one out of the way, okay? So.
No, it's just one of those episodes that Mick and Christian did, and Christian, what was it? What was he said? Something effing beautiful or something. It was just the way he said it because it was hilarious.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was just talking about Milner and like Milner never drinking and being like a model pro and stuff, and then Milner apparently said something like he had like a half pint one time, and he said it was absolutely horrible, so he'll never have her again. But Christian was like, "Oh, don't be saying that, mate. It's absolutely beautiful." But it made me laugh just the way he said it. Like he was just like, because obviously he's Swedish, but it came out like a proper English twang on it, and it was quite funny.
It was quite funny. But no, thank you very much for coming on, guys. Do check out the Cup Heights podcast as well. Really. Do you know one thing that I have noticed when I go to work every single morning, and I kid you not, I listen to an episode of Cup Heights because it is so soothing. It's so soothing to hear you and Christian just speaking about football, and especially with obviously the Reds this season being mixed, I have to say. But no, really do enjoy that. So thank you very much, Karl. Thank you very much as always. The Totally Levy and Horn football pod is sort of coming back, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. I am sort of coming back. Listen, I've had some other stuff was going on, but I know hopefully I should be on Saturday. Hopefully you're available. I was going to speak to you about that, so
I'm hoping to. Apparently, Manchester United just scored against Sevilla.
Okay. Yeah, no, we're back on Saturday. I am going to try to do the Premier League review next Tuesday after the Monday Night Football. I think I was going to do it this week, but I've had some stuff going on. But hopefully next week, because I have to do some mock interview preparations. So after I am going to actually do the recording so it can be uploaded on Wednesday. So that is on my case. I'm going to try to put a rota and put it in my events account. Just do your podcast. And that's it. So I'm trying to get back on the swing of things. So
yeah, absolutely. Just going through the last few comments before we do go. I think when Diaz back from injury, we need to go 4-2-3-1. Gakpo behind Nunes, Diaz, Salah right wing. Interesting. Liverpool football talk. Yeah. I think that was about, obviously, we'll just say that. Man United are 1-up against Sevilla as well. But yes, Monday Night Football, Leeds against Liverpool. Big game. Obviously, Leeds looking to try and stay in the Premier League. And yeah, avenge a 5-1 home defeat. Who gets beat 5-1 at home to Roy Hodgson? I just don't know. But obviously that was that. But yeah, Liverpool, can we win our 4th away game of the season? That's embarrassing to say that, but we shall wait and see. But thank you to everyone in the chat for watching, and yeah, we'll see what happens on Monday. I'll be back on Saturday as well. I am doing a live watch along of Aston Villa against Newcastle United, so do tune in for that. But until then, it is goodbye from Nick, goodbye from Karl, as goodbye from me as well. And yeah, enjoy the football this evening, and I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye bye.